Welcome back. We are sitting again. If you are not there, we are having a conversation with Diana and Sabine. As we left before the break, they were giving their share. They were telling us how they appreciate their parents' disciplines. However, the lack of communication, that the parents could better approach them, approach a subject with in so many other ways, and probably they would understand. Diana, I guess that you were making a point before in terms of understanding of a parent, because now you have grown and you can understand a lot better where they were coming from. Although you don't have to agree with all the principles, with all the methods they have used in the past. However, I have one question that I want to throw at you in terms of, if they were hard on you, or the discipline probably could be too rigid. Not necessarily in your case, or maybe in Sabine's case. Doesn't it occur to you when you look back that probably, excuse me, if I didn't have that straight line to follow, at least because they never achieve 100% of what they wanted, but probably 50. And probably also, couldn't it be a minus 25 or 35 of all the efforts they have put into you in one mistakes and then everything the result in shambles? Don't you think that somehow, even though you do not accomplish 100% of all they wanted, but the discipline or their way of doing it still achieve of you being somebody better?
Love and discipline is not synonymous. It's not the
I
same.
agree.
It's not, again, the way my parents disciplined me, or a way a parent can discipline their kid or their child, that's on them. Love is something different. That involves communication. As far as discipline,
Yeah.
I believe you do need
You
discipline.
cry, you came to your mother for crying. Tell her why you're crying for.
I believe you do need discipline in a household. Definitely. You need to be strict. You need to have boundaries or lines. Totally agree with that. I just think there's more to parenting than discipline.
Okay, we have seen the discipline part, what you have as teenagers. Now you have grown into college. You have gone into college, and I'm sure so many things that you have dropped behind. You have dropped behind certain habits, because now you see a lot clearer where you're going to. As you mentioned before, you have the credit of choosing where you go and hold on to it. And to be today a psychologist or a doctor later, or a nurse, whichever. And so you can see now that it was useful, that whatever education that you have, is it useful at this point of your life?
The education?
Yeah. I mean, in terms of training at home, is it useful in achieving what you have achieved in life?
I'm independent because of my mother. Like Sabine said earlier, I learned to be independent, to take care of myself through my parents, especially my mother. That again, I give her credit for. Like, I know how to, take care of myself, my work ethics, my cooking, cleaning. Like, I can survive on my own because of my mother, because she taught me the the necessary
The
to
basics,
do
yeah,
it.
necessary.
But education, it just elevated me. It brought me to a higher
A higher
level.
level.
That's about it.
Yeah, and you can appreciate a lot. You have a much broader idea of almost of everything. Sabine was saying before that now I want to copy my mother, and because now it seems that you appreciate what she has done, even though she never had to tell you. She taught you by example.
I appreciate it now. Growing up 13, 14, 15, it was, what is she talking about? Why? But now when you look at it, I can represent my mother and my father wherever I go. I can have someone compliment them on that training that they've instilled in me, in which I say, I do want to copy my mother and my father, just not so tough. You want to give a child tough love, because in giving your child tough love, you're showing them that you can love them and discipline them at the same time. I can love you all day, every day, but if you overstep your boundary, I can discipline you. I can stop you in your tracks and say, Joshua, this is why. Jolie, I am asking you to. Mm-hmm. It's different ways in disciplining. Mm-hmm. And that's where we call it tough love. So with me, I got the tough love, just in a different manner.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And in getting it a different manner, I knew what to do and not to try it. But my kids will try it and see what's my reaction. So at times I can talk to them and say, this is why. Or at times I can say, what would my mother do? How would my father handle it? And say, do I want to go their route or do I want to try a new route? At times I get stuck in disciplining and giving tough love. I can go to my parents and ask for advice and say, how do I teach him not to do this way without screaming, without wanting to give him that hard discipline, but just to show him this is the right way, this is the wrong way, or this is my way. So there's a difference. Tough love and straight discipline.
Well, that is good. However, if you look back at it now, and you would have the guts to stand in front of your mom and your dad. No, I'm saying that, while you have the guts to stand in front of, what would you advise them? Let's say that, okay, they give you certain orders. How would you advise them as an approach to that understanding, to that love teaching, to that approach that you have now with your children? Sometimes I might say something to you and you don't agree. And you say, Dad, can I speak to you?
That I can
and
do
then
now.
You do, and then you explain, oh, this is this is that. Is it an approach that would work?
According to my parents, no. Their approach is the right way. This Dr. Oz, Oprah Winfrey talk, they're not going to have it. They're not going to accept, well, let's try it this way. Let's do it this way. They're going to say, you do this is how you do it, this is how you're going to do it, and that's it.
It's a cultural thing.
Okay, in that case, help me out here. We may have parents listening to us or watching us on that segment of the Nikki New York show, or probably some young ladies and young men watching us at some point, either on YouTube or on Facebook, on that segment of the show. I want them to feel you, because you realize that certain things were good, and certain things that you wish they were coming at you some other way. Not condemning your parents.
Not at all.
Because as you said, Diana, it is a cultural thing.
It's cultural, yeah.
So, however, from your point of view, how do you can even advise a child now a teenager, the 15, the 16 that you were a few years ago, how you see a 16 or a 15-year-old bringing a tattoo or wants to go to party and there is an objection there. How they can approach their parents at a certain points, because there is love, there is also they want to understand what you do and who you're doing with.
Well, I look at it as once you approach your parent the right way, the truthful way, as a parent, you have to understand that you were once in their shoes. You don't want to show your child fear, that your child should fear you. You want your child to understand you.
Yeah.
So
Empathize with you.
if your child wants to go to that party or your child wants that tattoo, like Diana said, communication is where it comes from. That's the root of being a parent. Communication, because you were once a child. You were once defiant. You once wanted to wild out and do what you wanted to do. So once a parent understands a child, has that communication, you sit down and explain and say, well, I'm going to give you the opportunity to go to this party. Your curfew is midnight. You give that child the chance to walk through the door at midnight. 12:05, you lost your opportunity because I said midnight. I gave you the opportunity. We spoke about it. We had the communication, and you lost it.
Moucha bon tout bagay. Son frère, chaque jour qui vient dans gaguerre là. Alors faut me venir kembe là, c'est ça que me vinn là. Non, pas jamais. J'aime pas rien, pas jamais jouer, pas jamais battre. Non, c'est bagay son frère me vinn là.